So I a lot of times like to look up definitions of words these days. I've spent most of my life kind of thinking I knew what things meant, just I'd hear things in context and have like this vague idea. But I found that when I go to the dictionary I haven't opened a dictionary in years. When I go to Google or ChatGPT and it gives me the dictionary definition of words, a lot of times it opens things up and kind of makes me think a lot. So about 6 months ago, I looked up patience, and I was a little surprised. The actual definition of patience is the capacity to withstand delay or suffering without getting angry or resentful. So I thought patience just meant waiting, being able to wait. And maybe it is like in just a very vague sense. But the definition suggests that you've got to have a couple of things for you to have patience. So it starts with you must have some sort of delay or suffering, all right? So if everything's going my way, when things are happening as I expect, I go to the gym, I see the results, doesn't really require patience. Although it might, I guess, if I'm pushing myself and there's some suffering while I'm in there. So I've got to seek out, if I want to develop patience, and patience is a value that I think as a person, as a man, that I should have. It's something I strive for. It's something that's in the Bible several times talks about, okay, this is a trait that you should strive to have. Then I have to put myself in these situations that require me to not have instant gratification. So I'm an instant gratification kind of guy. My name's Coach Bobby. I am a success coach with Sober Life Right. I work specifically with people that are sober and trying to live their best lives, okay? I'm also a man in long-term recovery from a severe substance use disorder, specifically methamphetamine use disorder. I am a guy that likes instant gratification. I want to feel good all the time, and if I'm not feeling good, my natural instinct is to find a way to make myself feel good. And that hasn't changed. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy life. I've just found healthier ways to do that these days. But drugs certainly did that for a long period of time for me. Just unfortunately, there's also some pretty severe consequences, and there's a huge price you pay. As anyone that has suffered from a substance use disorder, I'm sure can tell you. But being back to the patience issue. So for me today, it starts by having really, really big and a large amount of goals that I'm working on. I have to put myself in situations where I am demanding more from myself. Where I have got these big goals and big visions, and these big things that I want to accomplish, that are going to require me to take some time for them to develop. I can see it in all parts of my life. Relationships sometimes, I have found that the longer I'm in recovery, I have a much higher standard for what I want out of my personal relationships. I have a much clearer sense of where my values are and what kind of person I want to be. And I want to attract people that are very, very similar to that. And so a lot of times that means for me that I have to delay some things. I have to take time to continue working on me and letting things develop. And that's not always easy for me. I can tell you, I looked at my recovery that way. I got, last time I used drugs was July 21st, 2021. And the end of that run ended in the back of a police car. And the first 90 days, like I had to do basically nothing other than sleep and eat and let my body physically heal. And at the time, that was something that I was not capable of on my own. There was no way that I could sit still and just let that happen. So, you know, for me, and I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe that God is directing all this. And so that happened in the form of jails, which is a common destination for a lot of people with substance use disorders that go untreated. And so by being locked up so that I was physically protected from continuing to hurt myself, it allowed me to get sleep. It allowed me to get nutrition back into my body. I was 40 pounds underweight. I was sleeping an average of maybe 6 hours every 3 or 4 days. The amount of drugs and the chemical effects that they had on my brain itself, you know, the part of my brain where my decision making, my impulse control happens, was all chemically affected. So that, and I've seen, you know, there's brain scans that have been done on this. When you're using methamphetamine, there are these like large parts of your brain where zero activity happens after you've done the drug for a period of time. In fact, even the first time that you do it, like it's an instant. They've done these brain scans and there's instantly like parts of your brain that just stop functioning. And it's specifically the parts that affect your decision making and your impulse control. So imagine that you are trying to stop using drugs, and the part of your brain that tells you it's a good idea to stop using drugs isn't working. And the part of your brain that tells you, hey, don't go do drugs again, like this impulsive act is not a good idea, is not working. I think that's a huge explanation for why methamphetamine has become so many people in our jails. You know, I think I see a much larger percentage of methamphetamine users in jails than other places. Now, I got a chance to work a year in the courts, specifically a felony drug court, and by far the methamphetamine users were the largest percentage of that population, at least in a small area that I saw. I don't know the statistics on it, like nationwide or anything. Something maybe I'll ask ChatGPT about later. A little shameless plug for ChatGPT, which I love. By the way, if you're interested in all in this, please like, subscribe. I'd love for you to keep watching this stuff. I'm going to try and do these every day, and we're just going to see what happens. But let's get to the second part of patience. Okay, so we found a delay. We realized we've got to have some sort of suffering. Now it's a matter of how can I control my emotions, you know? How am I supposed to suffer and not be angry about it? Or how am I not supposed to not be resentful about it? Okay, and that takes some skills. Most of our feelings, I think I've heard it said that all of our feelings are a direct result of our thoughts. All right, so what kind of things are we telling ourselves? You know, it's not what's happening. It's not this external influence. The external influences are just happening to us regardless. Like everybody is going through life and things are happening, but it's the story that we tell ourselves about those that's going to determine what our attitude is about that, what our thoughts are about that. You know, if you feel like someone is doing something negative to you, then you're going to have a feeling that's attached to that. One thing that I found that's very, very useful is practicing gratitude. You know, that has become a huge part of my daily recovery. I start every morning out with a gratitude list, and I've been doing this for 3.5 years. It's one of the few things that I do 100% right. I don't miss a day of gratitude. What that does over time is it rewires your brain. My brain is now at a point where no matter what situation comes up, my subconscious mind finds reasons to be grateful for it. So I don't have to have this active, conscious brain looking for gratitude anymore. That's kind of become my default setting. By being able to be grateful for things, no longer do I deal with anger as much. Not that I'm an unfeeling person suddenly. That's not the case. I still go through the normal things. Anger is also a natural part of a grieving process. What is grief? Grief happens anytime we don't get something we expected. That is a human instinct. It's hardwired in. When it could be something as simple as I'm watching a football game and my team loses. I'm going to go through stages of grief. I'm going to go through denial. I'm going to go through bargaining. What if they had just done if they had just played that play? I'm going to go through anger. Man, I can't believe they didn't win. I'm going to go through sadness. And then finally, I'm going to accept, okay, well, they lost the game. Go on with my life. That grief can happen very, very quickly. Obviously not the same as major life events. You lose a loved one, you go through a breakup, you've got a major health issue that comes up. Obviously, those are much bigger, and so you may process a grief. There's no right or wrong way to process grief. So anyway, that's back to patience. How do you practice it? So one, put yourself in situations where you've got things that you're working towards that are going to stretch you. Okay. And then take control of your feelings. And if you're not sure how to do that kind of stuff, that's one of the things as a coach I can help you with. These are all skills that can be developed. And at the end of the day, I'm here to help people live their most amazing life. And I believe that the more patience that you have is just one more building block in that whole foundation. So I hope this was helpful to somebody. Please, again, like, subscribe, leave comments, and if you're interested in coaching, one-on-one coaching, shoot me a direct message. We'll respond, and we can talk and see if maybe I can help. Thanks.